Well, hello everybody. Hey, I can't talk really loud. Today's been a kind of one of these big adjustment days with my teethies, my chompers. So I figured I'd let my shirt be loud for me. How do you like that, huh? Nice and loud. I love it. Hey, so I've been watching the news a lot lately, and I don't know why. I really don't know why I do it. But one of the hot topics is the subject of the church. And there's a lot of debate right now going on about the government shutting down the churches because of the COVID, and whether they can sing, whether they can meet, where they'll meet, how they'll meet. And there's a lot of controversy, like I said, a lot of disagreement. So tonight I thought I would give my 2 cents in and just kind of chime in on it a bit. What I'm about to say may shock some people. I may get some flack for it, but it's what God told me to say, so that's good enough for me. The biggest thing about the church right now is that it's okay. It's okay. And I'm going to start off kind of expounding on that with Matthew verse 16, or chapter 16 verse 18. And in Matthew 16:18 it says, "And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." How powerful is that? And I'm going to be drinking a lot of water, you guys. There's a lot of fires around here in Southern California. Smoke's coming in, making me kind of hooked. So don't mind me if I chug some water. But how powerful is that? The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. It being the church. This is what Jesus told Peter. You will be the rock, and I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So let's just take a quick look at what the definition of the church really is. The word church basically comes from the Greek word, which is ecclesia. Sometimes you hear ecclesiastical studies. That means a study of the church. But basically what it means, in a nutshell, is it's called a company or an assembly. So what that means is the church is not the building. It's the people in it. It's the congregation that really make it prosper, that really make it functional. When my wife Carmen and I were living in Las Vegas, across the street from us, right across the street from us, was this big, beautiful church. I mean, it was fancy smancy. It had TVs. Excuse me. It had TVs. They would record. They would broadcast. But every summer, in front of that church, they had these huge palm trees. And I mean, we're talking huge. Probably a good 50, 60 feet high. And they had about 10 of them up there. Every summer, just like clockwork, they would go out there and they would cut those palm trees down and plant new ones. And mind you, this was during the middle of the housing crisis. Within a 10-block radius of that church, there were 25% of the people losing their homes. And this church is sitting here cutting down all of these palm trees. So I thought there's got to be a reason. You know, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So one day I just went over there, you know me, nosy bosey. I just went over there and I asked them, why do you guys keep cutting these down? Well, we want them to look good for the church. So the community sees us and it looks good. I said, well, that's nice, but they look fantastic. I said, do you realize how many people out here have never even heard of you that drive by you? They don't care about those palm trees. They care about how you treat the community. I was not Mr. Popular. So it kind of illustrates how a lot of people look at the church. They think it's a big, beautiful building, and it's not. So now we get back to the original content of my little blurb tonight, and that's, once again, the government saying to the churches, you can't function, or you can't be doing this here because you're going to spread the COVID virus. And I think the biggest thing the biggest tripping stone, if you will, and what people are so angry about is there doesn't seem to be any consistency. Some states you can meet, they don't care. Some states you can meet outside, they don't care. Some states you can't sing, some states you can't do this. And there's a large or a huge amount of inconsistencies there. So that gets people frustrated in the, right off the get-go. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing Christians responding in so many different ways. Some people are saying, oh, that's cool, whatever. We'll just go out and do this, we'll do that. Others are going, it's against their constitutional rights, and they're taking people to court, they're suing people, they're angry. I'm not going to say either side is right, but here's my thought on it. Okay? Let them do it. Let them try to shut the church down. I don't care. I really don't. And I know people are going to probably get mad at me for saying that. But the reason why I'm saying that is this. First of all, remember Matthew 16 and 18. It says, the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. So the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. So do you think that Congress, do you think a governing body can actually do that? Do you think the governor of the state that you live in, and I live in San Diego, so the governor of California, do you honestly think they can shut down the church? I say absolutely not. Because remember, at the very beginning of my little blab here, I was talking about the church is the body. It's not the building. So who cares? In a way, them shutting the building down is not a bad thing. Now you're going, wait a minute, what's that mean? No, I'm not saying I want all the churches to shut down their buildings and everything. But in a way, it's kicking the church out on the streets where they should be. Yep, I said it. Because just like that building in Las Vegas, excuse me, a little something flew in my eye here. Just like that church in Las Vegas, their lives because they just sat in the building and waited for people to come to them. And guess what? That's not realistic. Do you think Jesus, did he just sit around and go, okay, everybody come to me? Did he say that? Absolutely not. He had no walls around him. He went out into the community. He went all over the community. He went all over Israel saying, I am the light. So why should today's church be confined inside the four walls? Now here's what I'm saying, and here's what I think would be a great solution to this thing. I am not saying or advocating laying down and just taking it passively. Absolutely not. Pastor MacArthur up north, he's going to town, fighting them in the courts, all that good stuff. I say that's great. Let's get these church buildings back open. Let's get a place where we can all meet. But in the meantime, instead of sitting here doing nothing and feeling sorry for ourselves, let's get our butts out into the community and start meeting people where they are. I have a good friend up north, and I think I mentioned him a couple times. His name is Bill, and he pastors a church up in Stockton, California. Excuse me. Bill is very unique. Excuse me, now it went down my throat. I love Bill with all my heart and soul, and the reason why I call him unique is because he takes advantage of situations to show God's glory. What did he do? He was one of the first ones in California, I believe, that actually got out there, turned their parking lot into kind of like a drive-in theater, and he rocked it. He went out there and preached to them in the parking lot. Now, while he was doing that, a lot of churches were shut down. They weren't meeting. They were having Zoom. And at the same time, they're complaining that they can't meet in person. Well, Bill solved that, did a nice compromise. One minute, he had them all out there, so they did see each other in person. It got them out of the house. It got them worshiping. It got them happy. It's a great solution. We cannot sit here and just sit around moaning, groaning, and complaining about it. Yes, I pray that all the churches will open soon. Yes, I pray that the COVID virus will disappear. But do I believe that the COVID virus and the government is stronger than the church? Absolutely not. But right now, a lot of churches are acting like they are. They can't shut us down. They can't do it. And why? Because Jesus is stronger. It's his house. He is stronger than the courts. So no matter what happens, they can't beat us. We may have to go out in the streets, and that's going to require some growth. That's going to require actually being willing to accept change. The times they are changing. For all you older guys, you remember that. So, body, and that's what we are. We're all the church. We need to start continuing to find ways to reach people. I don't care if it's YouTube. I don't care if it's going out there and evangelizing. I don't care if it's grabbing a bullhorn, staying in within the limits of the law, going out there to the beach, and just driving along and preaching outside of your car. I don't care. But there's a million ways that we beat the courts, fight the government so that we can stay open. But we can't just sit down. We just can't sit around. So anyway, there's my little bit of spouting off, I guess. I'm not mad about it. I just wish more people would get up there and start doing something more about it instead of, getting on Facebook and saying the government's it's a deep conspiracy here and it's a deep conspiracy there. What we just need to be doing is just getting off our rear ends and doing whatever it takes to continue to get the word of Jesus Christ out there. And maybe this is just Jesus shaking us up and saying, you know what? Time to change the way you do things. Thank you guys very much. I'll be praying for you. And please continue to pray for me as well. Teeth are still kind of an adjustment. It's only been a couple weeks, but it's still adjusting. So if you could do that, I'd be greatly appreciative. So having said that, love you guys, and we will talk soon. Love you, Ken. Mr. Ken Porter just piped in. So anyway, keep each other in prayer, keep the church in prayer, and get out there and make a difference. Love you guys. Be praying for you. Take care. Well, oh, there's that fancy.